Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the portfolio once again, as always, with another transparency update. So if you're new here, what I usually do is I show the progress of my portfolio almost every single market day, and I show my gains and losses for each individual stock that I own, and then talk about my feelings and thoughts about the market right now and predictions for the future. And then we include a few key topics as well, which always most likely includes Tesla, because that takes up such a huge position in my portfolio. I think like right now it's around 85% of my portfolio, but as a lot of you all know, my portfolio has been reorganized since yesterday, where I sold off all of my position in Microsoft and then put the rest of that into Tesla. So now I only own 2 main stocks instead of 3, and then this one right here is just a free stock that I recently got. So if you all would like a free stock, you can use my referral link to Robinhood. But as always, if y'all do enjoy these transparency videos, please make sure to smash that like button. But as you can see, the portfolio is still at around 147K. We're at $146,797.34. And for the normal market hours today, it was a red day. Honestly, after this huge run up over these past few weeks, it seemed like it was bound to happen eventually. So with a day like today, I'm not too surprised. I'll be honest though, I expected today to be a pretty big green day. And just addressing the things that I've said in a few recent videos, I did say that I think we could see like a $2,500 share price around the time of Tuesday or Monday of next week. That was kind of like a short-term price target estimate. Now, I'm still going to go with that just because I don't want to back up on my words, but keep in mind, with the fact that Tesla was red today, that becomes a little bit less likely for that $2,500 number to occur, just because it's closing the gap. And what would have been a crucial green day for making that price target happen ended up being a red day, which I'm not too surprised, like I said, but we'll get in that in just a second. But just addressing the normal market hours, we are at minus 0.99% for today for the portfolio. That's minus $1,477.47. And then for the after hours as well, we are in the red right now at minus 0.06% or minus $91.36. So this in itself, honestly, not a bad day. Yes, $1,500 seems like a lot of money, but when you really think about it, we're talking about 1% here. My money has grown significantly since just a few months ago with this portfolio. So it's not that bad of a day, even though it may seem like it where I'm losing $1,500. Obviously, that's a lot of money. But as my portfolio starts to get larger like this, it's more important to focus on the percentage gains and the percentage losses. Now, of course, the money looks a lot better when you look at the value when it's a green day. Like, I'd rather have $1,500 off of 1% in a green day than, of course, minus $1,500 off of minus 1% in a red day. But when you're kind of addressing these red days, as your portfolio does get a little bit larger, I think it's a little bit more important to focus on the percentage change rather than the value change, because what really matters, of course, is that percentage, because a 1% movement is really just a typical stock market day, especially a 1% red day, minus 1% red day. That's honestly about as typical as it gets for a red day, and it's honestly not that bad for a red day. Like, if I'm gonna have a bad day for Tesla where I lose money, I would much rather it be 1% than some of these bigger numbers that we've seen with Tesla previously, like 2 to 3%. So honestly, like I said, this day doesn't really bother me at all for Tesla. I always look at red days as opportunities, and of course, with a day like today, I'm pretty grateful that it wasn't minus 3 to 4%, and it's only like a 1% pullback. So Tesla has pulled back a little bit today, and if we look at Apple stock, it is still near that all-time high, just under $500 before the split. But as you can see, it hasn't really moved much today. It's at minus 0.01%. But just addressing what I was talking about with Tesla earlier, like I said, I did have a price target of $2,500 by Tuesday or Monday of next week. And like I said, this isn't the best day for Tesla. Of course, it's a red day. So it is kind of like squeezing this gap closer inwards, where the time frame of this price target to actually happen, where it's becoming a little bit less likely. And I don't mean less likely as in it's not going to happen. I just mean less likely than it was yesterday, where we kind of had the hopes of today being a green day. So I'm just saying, like, in terms of probability and odds, it becomes a little bit more difficult for Tesla to hit that number now, given the fact that today wasn't a growth day for the stock, meaning that Monday or Tuesday, we're going to have to see a bigger increase in the share price for it to reach around that $2,500 price target number. However, I don't think it's impossible. I wouldn't be surprised if it hits somewhere near that number, 2,400 or 2,450, but somewhere around that number, I feel like that's still a possibility, because if you think about today, really, the hype isn't around before the stock split. All of this hype and all of this growth, all of that hype is revolved around the fact of not what's coming up before the stock split, but the hype is about the stock split, meaning the opportunities of growth that happen after the split, when people that normally wouldn't have had access to buying Tesla stock likely will after the split occurs, because it becomes much more affordable, as we know, since a lot of people don't have access to fractional shares. A lot of investors outside of the US in other countries don't have access to fractional shares. So there is kind of like that privilege in America where people here do have a little bit more opportunities for access to fractional shares, whereas that might not even be an option in some other countries outside of the US. I know I've received comments before on some of my videos talking about how this is actually true, that in some countries they don't even have access to fractional shares. So that kind of limits the abilities of retail investors to get in on the stocks that they would love to get in on. So yes, Tesla stock has pulled back today. We can take a look at the movement so far. It actually started pretty far into the green at around plus 3%, and then from that point on it kind of had a lot of volatility with a general trend downwards for this rest of the day here. So if you really think about all of the hype around the stock split and why it matters to people and how they think that could drive more growth in the share price of Tesla because of people having more access to fractional shares, a lot of that hype isn't around what comes up before the stock split. Obviously, there were some expectations of an increase in the share price before the split actually occurs, because as we know, some people see that as an opportunity as getting in on Tesla before the split occurs. So when it actually splits, the share price could go up even more as investors have access to finally buying Tesla. So there were a lot of investors that already had access to buying Tesla that decided to buy more before the split because they saw potential in growth after the split, and they also just recognized a lot of the excitement beforehand, before we even saw the split. So some investors simply bought Tesla before the split because they saw this run up happening, and because they also saw some potential after the split when investors have more access. But if you really start thinking about the growth revolving around the split, really all of this hype is about the split happening. So out of all of the days we have ahead of us right now, and even including today, if we're kind of addressing what the biggest growth day could possibly be, you kind of have to address why there's so much excitement around the split. And that's because, as I've reiterated, more people will have access to buying Tesla after the split. So there's that potential growth aspect there. So if we're thinking about it from the perspective of yesterday and looking into the future regarding Friday, which is today, Monday of next week, and then Tuesday of next week, I honestly would expect to see the most growth happening on either Monday or Tuesday of next week compared to today. Now, of course, I did kind of predict some growth happening today because I thought more people would try to get in on Tesla before everyone pretty much has access to buying it. So I kind of overestimated a reaction on people wanting to get in on Tesla, especially today. But if you think about when we can actually see some big movements, that would be more focused on Monday, because that's what all of this Tesla stock split is all about. That's when people finally have access, and when we could most likely see a lot of people buying in and potentially driving up the share price significantly. So I feel like in terms of growth and addressing the perspective from yesterday regarding what day could drive the most growth over this next 3 to 4 days, like I said, I would expect it to be Monday or Tuesday rather than Friday. But of course, like I said, I did expect today to be a green day for Tesla. I'm not trying to pretend like I knew today was going to be a red day, but I'm saying in terms of the likelihood of growth, it seems much more likely for that to happen on Monday or Tuesday when more people finally have access to buying in on this. It just seems like at this point, at least for today, the people that were going to buy in on Tesla that already had access to fractional shares or simply just already had the money to buy in on Tesla, it seems like with at least this point in time, they have pretty much bought their fair share of Tesla, no pun intended. So at least with today, the supply of Tesla shares exceeds the demand. So that tells me that the investors that already had access to fractional shares and the investors that already had money to buy in on Tesla, it kind of tells me that they are kind of done buying shares for now. But what matters the most is, with all of this hype around the stock split, Monday is when we really see what happens as a result of the stock split, and if the demand exceeds the supply, which I think is pretty likely because, as we know, there are a lot of people that would love to get in on Tesla stock. So anyways, we have seen a pullback for Tesla, but I see a lot more potential for growth on Monday or Tuesday of next week compared to the potential for growth today, which is when people that already had access to buying Tesla kind of have like their last chance at buying it before pretty much everyone has access. So anyways, addressing the numbers for today, as you can see, we are at minus 1.02%, or minus $1,304.21. And then for the total return, we are at plus 64.27%, or plus $49,307.46. And then moving on to Apple, like I said, just under $500 for today. I would have loved to see it at $500 even, or somewhere just a little bit over 500. But as you can see, it's at minus 0.06%, or minus $11.76. And then for the total return, we are at plus 74.77%, or plus $8,979.84. So not that bad of a red day. Like I emphasized earlier in this video, for Tesla, minus 1% isn't too bad compared to the red days that we've seen in the past. And then especially for Apple, anything that's like minus 0.0 something, that's not a bad day at all. I consider that almost like a day without movement in general for Apple, just because it's such an insignificant amount for it to drop. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this video. Please make sure to smash that like button if you do enjoy the transparency. And also, feel free to sign up to Robinhood and Webull in the description below. If you sign up with my referral link, then you'll get some free stocks. And especially with Webull right now, you can get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,400 if you deposit $100 into your account and then also use my referral link to sign up. So you can take that $100 right back out. So it's pretty much just nice passive income. But I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.